So on October 1st, Xinjiang marked the 70th anniversary of its founding as an autonomous region. And Xi Jinping arrived in Urumqi a full week early for a celebration event to be held at a newly built stadium that cost the regime 3.4 billion yuan. And it was Mr. Du who said that his security team detected a bombing scheme ahead of the event. And so the event was moved last minute to an indoor venue. And the art performance scheduled at night was canceled. And while Xi Jinping was in Xinjiang, the Turkish president, he was in the White House. Interestingly, something weird happened in Beijing. The Turkish ambassador to China, I think his name is Uno, he paid a visit to guess who? Hu Haifeng, Hu Jintao's son, who is just a fourth-ranking deputy minister at the Ministry of Civil Affairs in the State Council. The ambassador only arrived in China at the end of July and officially presented his papers in early August. And Hu Haifeng's portfolio? Social welfare, child services, elderly care, they have nothing to do with foreign affairs. If it were really about charity or social programs with Turkey, protocol says the ambassador would go through the foreign ministry, or at least the minister of civil affairs himself. So meeting Hu, the fourth-ranking deputy, directly, it makes no sense. Unless it's about who his father is. The Post addressed the junior Hu as the Honorable Hu Haifeng, and said the two exchanged ideas about bilateral development between the two countries. It doesn't sound like a casual meeting between an ambassador and an official. It sounds like the ambassador was talking to the head of foreign affairs or someone representing China, judging by the text that I saw. Now, no official Chinese media reported the meeting. Why? Well, because this meeting is loaded with messages. So let's not forget, now Hu Jintao, the former party chief, was publicly dragged out of the 20th Party Congress, a global spectacle, remember? So people wondered if he'd even survive. And yet here's the Turkish ambassador openly meeting his son, receiving or giving gifts. That's basically sending a signal. Hu Jintao still matters and Xi Jinping doesn't. And the timing, interesting. The timing is when Xi Jinping is in Xinjiang, the very place Turkey has long criticized China over its treatment of the Uyghurs. So instead of showing up in Xinjiang with Xi Jinping, the ambassador goes to meet the son of Xi's biggest political rival. That's not an accident. It looks like foreign diplomats already sensed that real power is shifting away from Xi Jinping, and they're hedging bets by courting the junior Hu. So let me talk about Xi Jinping's trip to Xinjiang. It's very similar to the one he went to Tibet in August. And so Xi Jinping went, but not as the head of the delegation. Instead, the chair of the CPPCC, Wang Huning, was. And the military lineup was also telling. Last time in Tibet, Xi Jinping was accompanied by CMC member General Zhang Shenming. This time, it was the other CMC member, General Liu Zhengli. But the real story is who wasn't there. Well, Zhang Youxia, the vice chairman of the CMC, was missing. By party rules, he should always accompany the chairman of CMC when inspecting local troops, but he's skipped it 4 times now. He has turned what should be an exception into the new norm. And she visited senior officers of the Xinjiang military district and took a picture. So in the video, he looked very, very uninterested, and he walked extremely slow. And the front row seats have the VIP guest's name, the name tag on the seat, except the one reserved for Xi Jinping. So his seat is nameless. This is also wild. You would never not put Xi Jinping's name on his seat. And here's the picture that leaked Xi Jinping's real standing in the picture. I circled Wang Huning. What did you notice? He was standing in front of Xi Jinping with his hands behind him. This is a taboo posture in front of your superior. In Chinese official culture, there's something called the hands behind the back rule. Here's how it works. If you are a lower ranking official and your boss is talking to you, you only have 2 acceptable postures. Either you stand with your hands folded in front of you, or you let your arms hang straight down on your side. Both postures say, I respect you, I'm listening. Take a look at everyone, all the other officials here. Take a look at Cai Qi. He folded his hands in front of him, right? Other people put their hands down next to them. So, but if you dare to put your hands behind your back in front of your superior, that's considered arrogance. In party culture, that's defiance. No seasoned CCP official would ever risk doing that in front of Xi Jinping, especially on camera. That's an unwritten rule of survival. Some who didn't follow this rule paid the ultimate price, and I'll explain. I'll show that to you. So in multiple official photos released by Xinhua, Wang Huning was standing right in front of Xi Jinping. Here's one. Here's the other one. Look, there's another one. He put his hands. Look how straight Cai Qi stood. Here's another one. So not just one, but in multiple official photos, Wang Huning was spotted putting his hands behind him in different venues again and again. Now that's no slip up. That's deliberate. Wang Huning is not someone who would make this kind of stupid mistake. He was able to survive a multitude of political storms and serve 3 CCP leaders, from Jiang Zemin to Hu Jintao to Xi Jinping. He knows, he has learned these party etiquette very well. And he wasn't like that before. I want to show you a picture taken in 2022, and you see how properly he stood. So this was from 2022. You see how Wang Huning put his hands in front of him. But did you notice this one guy in white shirt who put his hands behind him? Who was that? Yes, Li Keqiang, former CCP premier. There's another picture. And in this picture, you see Wang Huning standing right next to Xi Jinping, and there's Wang Yang, in the white shirt, putting his hands in front of him. And there's Li Keqiang putting his hands right behind him. So there's one man who doesn't care. That's Li Keqiang. But look at what has happened to him in the end. His fate says it all. He died under a suspicious circumstance in 2023, a few months after retiring. Now, Wang is openly sliding Xi Jinping with zero fear. What does that tell us? There's only one possibility. What is that? Well, it means that Xi Jinping doesn't matter anymore. So now let's turn to Beijing and the Xiangshan Security Forum. So CCP created this forum back in 2006, and after Xi Jinping came to power, it was elevated or expanded with the intention to rival the Shangri-La dialogue in Singapore. The idea to build a China-led Eastern security order, expand its circle of friends, and showcase its strong military story. On paper, Xiangshan is supposed to be the crown jewel of Xi Jinping's military diplomacy. So for Xiangshan Forum to be seen as a success, there are 3 boxes have to be checked. Number 1, a congratulatory letter from Xi Jinping himself, signaling the top leader's authority. Number 2, a keynote speech from the defense minister, representing the state's official voice. Number 3, front page headline coverage in party outlets like Xinhua and the People's Daily. This year, that entire playbook broke down. A close look at Xinhua's coverage tells the story. There's no mention of Xi Jinping's letter. Most likely, it never existed, or someone blocked it. Defense Minister Dong Jun still gave the keynote, but here's the odd part. Xinhua published 0 photos of him. Last year, his image filled the screen and the press. This year, he was invisible. And the main write-up by state media, just 382 characters. Compare that with a nearly 600-character report for a banquet hosted by Zhang Youxia for guests attending the forum. The signal couldn't be clearer. Xi's flagship military diplomacy event was deliberately muted and pushed into the background. So my last story, a very curious one. So let's talk about this crazy book. So back in 2023, a book was published in Shanghai called Chongzhen, the Diligent Emperor Who Lost His Country. But then a month after the republishing of this book, it was suddenly banned. The official excuse? Printing issues. But the real reason was hard to miss. The cover showed a noose hanging over the title, alongside a brutal tagline. Blunder after blunder. The harder he worked, the faster the empire collapsed. To many, it was an unmistakable jab at Xi Jinping. The book itself is a deep dive into the last Ming Emperor, Chongzhen, who was a ruler who worked tirelessly to save his dynasty. But his paranoia, infighting, and constant blunders only drove it faster towards collapse. In the end, he hung himself on a tree outside the palace. So in China, people whispered, Xi Jinping is today's Chongzhen, a leader obsessed with control, yet trapped in his own distrust and isolation. And that's why the book was yanked from the shelves. But now it's back. It has quietly resurfaced. This time it's rebranded as the biography of Chongzhen. And I think the biting slogan and then the news were stripped. Still, the comparison lingers. For many Chinese, the echo is chilling because both the Ming Emperor and Xi Jinping worked relentlessly, but both seemed doomed by the same flaw, leading their empires step by step down the road to ruin. All right, so let's put it all together. Xi Jinping being sidelined in the military, Wang Huning openly defying Xi, foreign diplomats meeting Hu Jintao's son, and the Xiangshan Forum downgraded. And even that banned history book has creeped back onto shelves. So these are not rumors. These are solid facts. The question is, what is Trump going to do with a divided CCP, a weakened Xi Jinping, with an egregious Russia and Putin, and a more treacherous road? I don't know. Only time will tell.